The Dakota Proclamation by Meredith Quinn, Musa. Interior and Insular Affairs, page 108. Jurisdiction includes public lands generally, entry, easements, and grazing, mineral resources, forfeiture of land grants, and alien ownerships, including alien ownership of mineral lands, forest reserves and national parks, military parks and battlefields, prehistoric ruin, and objects of interest preservation, irrigation and compacts to apportion waters for irrigation, mining interests generally, mineral land laws claims, and entries geological survey, mining schools and experimental stations, petroleum and radium conservation, Indian relations, tribes, care, education, allotment of lands, and claims paid out of Indian funds. See this, study it. The life you save may be your own. There's 2 of these committees. One is in the House and one in the Senate. There's nothing that could get past the Congress without their okay. All Indian legislation must be reviewed by them before any discussions can take place. Yet the Indian has lost the right to testify on his own behalf before this committee as of October 30th, 1969. All that you hear is picked Indian representation, what you call soup bone Indians, Uncle Tomahawks. That comes before their hearings. What is even less known is that the guardianship of the class of people known as inhabitants, Negroes, Mongolians, Chinese, Mexican Americans, is being held here till citizenship and a like constitution will be presented to Congress, so that they may be free like Americans of white Europe or white European descent. All the injustices that you read about, the complaints that the Indians tell of about his land, education, health, welfare, loss of water, food, clothing, and lives, come after the approval of this committee. If you wish to receive an easy PhD, pick the subject, industrial and military complex. Somewheres I've heard that it's some kind of mystery. Look up the activities of this committee, and you have the answer. In the Senate only, let's check its activities. Do you recall that many times I've stated that whoever deals with the Indian problem knows what I know? I'm just a dumb Indian, a savage. The Interior and Insular Committee has 16 senators, all from states that have Indians. And problems, right? What better qualified men do you need to hold down and hide the Indians' problem? These men have been around it all their lives. 8 are attorneys, 2 are professors, 1 is an author, 1 is a farmer, 2 are cattle ranchers, 1 is an insurance company owner, 1 is a legislator, and 1 is a heavy industrial corporation owner dealing in petroleum and agricultural chemicals. These 16 senators reach into more power than any other committees in Congress. Their membership ranges into 14 other committees: aeronautical and space sciences, appropriations, armed forces, aging, agricultural and forestry, finance, foreign relations, commerce, government operations, judiciary, interior and insular, post office and civil service, public works, veteran affairs, hold the chairmanships. They also hold membership into 6 joint committees: atomic energy, congressional operatings, internal revenue, Navajo Hopi Council, administrative reduction in government spending, and they hold membership in 4 select joint committees: equal educational opportunity, nutrition and human needs, small business, standards, and conducts hold chairmanships. That's 6 major chairmanships that they control. They also hold 23 chairmanships and 2 vice chairmanships in 84 subcommittees. There's no way the Indian can escape. Now, Senator George McGovern from South Dakota heads or is the chairman of the Indian affairs of this committee. Breakdown of chairmanships. Clinton Anderson of an insurance company is on the Committee of Aeronautical and Space Sciences, the Subcommittee of Water and Power Resources and Security. Quentin Burdick, an attorney, was on the Subcommittee of Territories and Insular Affairs, Improvement in Judicial Machinery, Penitentiaries, Compensation and Employment Benefits, Post Office and Civil Service. Alan Bible, who was an attorney, was on the Small Business Committee, the Subcommittees of Interior and Related Agencies, Appropriations, Parks and Recreation. Frank Church, an attorney, was on the Aging Committee, the Subcommittee on Genocide Convention, Public Lands, and Consumer Interests in the Elderly. Mike Gravel, an author, was on the Subcommittee of Public Buildings and Grounds. Henry Jackson, an attorney, was on the Committee of Interior and Insular Affairs, the Subcommittee on National Security and International Operations, Military Construction Authorization, Nuclear Test Ban Treaties, Safeguard Strategic Arms Limitation Talks, Special Subcommittee on Legislative Oversight, Military Applications. George McGovern, who was a professor of history and government, was on the Committee of Nutrition and Human Needs, the Subcommittee on Indian Affairs and Rural Electrification. Lee Metcalf, an attorney, was on the Committee of Congressional Operations and Vice Chairman. Frank Rose, an attorney, was on the Subcommittee of Consumer Affairs, Minerals, Materials, and Fuel, Long-Term Aging, and was the Vice Chairman of the Committee on the Environment. Henry Jackson, an attorney, was on the Chairman of the Interior and Insular Affairs Committee. And subcommittees, George McGovern was on Indian Affairs, Frank Rose was on Minerals, Materials, and Fuel, Alan Bible was on Parks and Recreation, Frank Church was on Public Lands, Quentin Burdick was on Territories and Insular Affairs, Henry Jackson was on Legislative Oversight. Somebody show me an organization of the Indian that is qualified to combat this. There is no attorney, judge, organization, or country that can challenge. They are protected by laws that are out of reach of the legal system of this country. I challenge them because they are not members of any Indian nation, and they only protect, not control, these nations. The legal system to be presented to the United States from Indian nations will be out of control and direction of this committee. These are men that are responsible for the problems of the Indian, and no matter how you may look at this, they must someday answer to the Great Spirit, mankind, and to their own God.